Hello, so today we're going to create a Starry Night-inspired drawing using oil pastel. We are going to be using broken marks, so as you can see, they're little tiny lines put next to each other. So step one is going to start with our ultramarine blue, and we're going to start filling in the sky. Just make sure you follow the curves of the sky, and we're not scribbling, we're just creating small little curved marks that follow all of the swirls of the sky. So make sure you go around the stars because we're going to color those in later. Make sure you create all those little tiny marks. It is okay if we still see the paper underneath because we're going to overlap a lot of colors and we are going to create layers, but just start by filling in the whole sky. Once we have our whole sky area filled in, we're going to grab our sapphire blue oil pastel and we are going to start adding more little lines, more little marks towards the top of the sky. We're then going to grab our cobalt blue and start doing the same thing to the rest of the sky. Keep your marks curved so that the sky feels like it's moving around. And keep adding those little lines, keep creating those layers, and fill in everything that we have not covered with the sapphire blue. For this next step, we're going to start using our yellow. Make sure that your yellow pastel is clean, so make sure it does not have any blue or anything on top of it. So we're going to start with our moon, and we're going to then color in some little lines, some little strokes around the moon. Don't be afraid of leaving texture. Don't be afraid of leaving white areas. Don't be afraid of your yellow touching the blue. Don't be afraid of playing around with the oil pastels. We're going to then start working on our stars, fill in the center of it, and then add a couple lines around it to just create that sense of movement. We are going to keep working on those stars later and keep adding more colors, so don't be afraid of how it looks right now because we are going to keep working on it and it's gonna all come together. Once we're done with the yellow, we are going to come in with our orange and we are going to add a little bit of details to our moon and to our stars just to create some little bit more depth and shadows to our stars. So we are going to keep making those small circular broken marks. So basically it will look like the stars are shining. We are going to add some of those lines also to the swirly thing that is in the middle of the sky. And we are going to then blend it better together. The next color we're going to grab is going to be our sky blue, and we are going to be using it for quite a bit. We are going to basically be blending in the sky a little bit with this color. So we're going to go still again on top of our cobalt blue with our small little strokes, and we are going to create more of a little bit of depth for it. We are going to work on the little swirly areas, still following how the swirly areas go. And we are going to keep adding more and more of that color also around the stars. So don't be afraid of going over the yellow a little bit with this pastel. And we are going to basically add a little bit more of little lines around the stars and the moon to basically make it look like it's shining. We are going to be doing that around all of the stars and the moon and keep working on the swirly area as well. Fill it all in, still leaving a little bit where we can see the white of the paper. We're going to then start working on the little hill at the bottom. Still with our little strokes, we're just going to add this color towards the bottom of this hill. Next step is going to be using our white around the stars still to make them shine a little bit more. So to adding that little bit more of a sparkle to blend those yellow and the light blue together and make a smoother transition between those two colors. Then with our white and our ultramarine blue, we are going to blend in more of those swirly areas. So we are going to keep adding more little lines, more little marks to this area, still following kind of how the swirl goes. And we are going to blend those colors together and create a nice smooth transition. And if it's looking a little bit too light, you can always add some more of that sky blue color or more of the blues we have. So as you can see, I'm adding a little bit more of that sky blue just to make it blend a little bit better. And then I'm adding more cobalt and more ultramarine blue to make the swirl darker and pop more. We are then going to use our lemon yellow to add a little bit of strokes on top of that hill, and still following a little bit how the hill goes down. So our lines are going to be slightly more vertical in this area, but still kind of following that hill. So we're going to add the lemon yellow. We are going to grab our blue, work some of that in on top of the sky blue that we have already put down, just to create a little bit more shadows, a little bit more depth. And then we are going to grab our white and start blending those two things together. So those yellow, blues, and all of those hills area. The next thing we're going to be doing are the hills. We're still going to use our little lines. And I'm starting by using our sapphire blue just to add more of my darks. And then we're going to go in with all of our other blues and keep adding more details. So when we are creating those hills and those details, just make sure that you still look at how it looks in the photo and in which direction it is going in the original painting. So there's some that are going to go up and down, some are going to be more curved, some are going to go left to right. So just make sure you pay attention to that. So once I'm done with my sapphire blue, I'm going to use my ultramarine, which is the lighter color you see. And then I will go in also with my sky blue, which is the one we use to kind of blend everything in the sky. And I am going to basically do pretty much the same in this hills area. So I'm going to add more wherever I see more of the lighter color, and then more of that sapphire blue where I see more of the darker color. Next, we're going to add a little bit of yellow detailing to the hills, and there's not going to be much of it. But we're also going to start working on the little houses, the little village at the bottom. So we're going to use some green as well, add a little bit of that to the hills. And we're still going to use our little marks. So still make sure that you're adding all the correct colors, following kind of like how the marks go in the direction. We're going to add a little bit of orange where it's needed, just to darken some areas and create some contrast, as it's the blue's complementary color and it's going to make it pop a little bit more. We're gonna keep adding a little bit more of our blues. We're gonna use some raw umber brown to add some more detailing to the houses. And we are also going to keep blending all of those colors together. And lastly, for this area, I do go in with the white just to kind of like smooth things in together, blend them a little bit better, and add some little bit more highlights. I will also still grab my sapphire blue again, which is going to be our darkest one, and kind of like almost like outline a little bit of the houses just to make them pop a little bit more and add more of those little details. And then finishing touches for the little village is going to be using my yellow to add some lights inside of the windows of those little houses. So I'm just grabbing it, going over kind of like the areas that I want it to go to, and add some of those houses lights. Next, we're still gonna grab our sapphire blue again, and we are going to be working on the tree that's in front of our sky. So for this, since most of our lines have been kind of like horizontal on this paper, we are going to start making a lot of vertical lines. So we're gonna fill it in, same technique as we used for the whole rest of this worksheet, but we are just going to use our sapphire blue to create small little vertical strokes. Once we're done with that process, we are going to grab our raw umber and we're going to repeat the same exact thing that we just did, just to try to fill in the little holes where we can see the paper a little bit more and to create more depth. And then we're going to use our very dark green to kind of keep doing the same exact thing and adding more depth to our tree. And then we are done with our Starry Night.